There are a billion doors in the galaxy. Doors made of crystal, doors guarded by armies, doors that open only for royalty. And then there was this one, a scratched metal door, faded paint, a faulty light flickering above it, on a quiet human colony at the edge of nowhere. The child stood there, trembling. She was small, too small to be here alone. Her skin shimmered with soft blue tones, faintly glowing beneath the starlight. Her eyes, large, golden, and unmistakably alien, were swollen from crying. She raised her tiny hand and knocked. Inside the house, Marcus Reed was making tea. It had been a long day, long week, long life if he was being honest. Retired human engineer, former military logistics, now just quiet. The knock made him pause. No one ever knocked anymore, not out here. He frowned slightly, set the mug down, and walked to the door. The second knock came, weaker than the first, almost desperate. Marcus opened the door, and the galaxy changed. The child looked up at him. Her lower lip trembled. I was told humans help, she whispered in broken trade common. Then she collapsed, right onto his doorstep. Marcus didn't think. He reacted. He caught her before she hit the ground. She was lighter than she should have been, too light, and shaking. Inside, Marcus laid her gently on the couch. The house scanner screamed warnings. Unknown biology. Royal genetic markers detected. Galactic protocol. Do not interfere. Marcus muted it. He knelt beside her instead. "Hey," he said softly. "Easy. You're safe." Her eyes fluttered open. You are the human?" she asked weakly. "Yeah," Marcus replied. "That's usually how this goes." She swallowed. "My mother said, if everything failed, find a human. Somewhere far away. An entire empire was searching
Marcus
for her."
didn't ask questions right away. That was something the military had burned into him years ago. First, you stabilize the situation. Then, you listen. He wrapped a thermal blanket around the child, adjusted the room temperature down by 2 degrees when the scanner suggested it, brought her a glass of warm electrolyte water. She held it with both hands. Her fingers were trembling. "What's your name?" Marcus asked gently. She hesitated. Aliens always did when asked that. "My name is Lorray," she said finally, "and I am not supposed to say it to strangers." Marcus gave a small smile. "Well, Lorray, I'm Marcus, and strangers don't usually give blankets and water." That earned him the faintest nod. Outside, the colony night was quiet. Too quiet. Marcus noticed that first. No freight hums, no patrol drones, no background chatter on the civilian channels. He checked the external feed. Static. That made his jaw tighten. "Lorray," he said calmly, keeping his voice even. "Who told you to come here?" She looked down at her hands. "My mother," she whispered. Marcus froze, just slightly. There were a lot of mothers in the galaxy, but there was only one whose child would trigger that scanner alert. "Your mother," he said carefully, "isn't just anyone, is she?" Lorray shook her head. "She is the princess." The room felt smaller. Marcus leaned back in his chair. The alien princess. Daughter of the High Matriarch of the Virelian Concord, a diplomatic powerhouse, a species that didn't ask, they expected obedience. And now her child was sitting on a human couch, wrapped in a thermal blanket, half a galaxy away from home. "They killed everyone," the Ray said suddenly. Marcus snapped his attention back to her. "Slow down," he said. "Tell me what happened." Her voice cracked. "They came at night. Not soldiers. Hunters." She swallowed hard. "They wore no banners, no colors. Just black." Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. He'd seen those before. Private fleets, corporate enforcers, species cleaners. The kind no one admitted hiring. "They wanted my mother to sign something," the Ray continued. "A treaty. She refused." Her eyes filled again.
So they burned the palace. Marcus clenched his fist. And your mother? He asked quietly. She put me in an escape pod, Lorraine said. She said, humans remember what others forget. Silence filled the room. Marcus stood up, walked to the wall, opened a panel that hadn't been touched in years. Inside was a military-grade long-range communicator, decommissioned, or so everyone thought. Lorraine, Marcus said, turning back to her. How many know you're here? She shook her head. No one. I jumped systems randomly. I followed old maps. Most doors were closed. She looked up at him. Yours opened. Outside the house, a shadow passed across the sky. Marcus saw it in the reflection of the window. His expression didn't change, but his posture did. All right, he said calmly. New rule. He knelt in front of her. You stay close to me. You do exactly what I say. And no matter what happens. He paused. You do not open the door for anyone else. Lorraine nodded quickly. Are they coming? Marcus stood, checked the locks, powered up systems that hadn't drawn energy in a decade. Yes, he said simply, and they just made a very bad mistake.
The power came back online quietly. No alarms, no flashy startup tones, just a low, steady hum beneath the floor. Marcus preferred it that way. Go to the back room, he told Larry, the one with no windows. She stood up immediately, didn't argue, didn't ask why. Children raised in royal courts learned one thing early. When an adult's voice lost warmth, danger was already close. Marcus watched her disappear down the hallway. Then he locked the door behind her. 3 locks, mechanical, digital, and one the Galaxy didn't officially recognize anymore. He moved through the house with practiced ease. What looked like a retired civilian home was anything but. The wall panels slid back. The floor compartments opened. Inside were tools that hadn't been registered in any database for years. A pulse rifle, human design. Not elegant, not pretty, but brutally reliable. Marcus checked the charge. Full. Of course it was. The external sensor finally cleared, and what it showed made his jaw tighten. 3 ships. Small, fast, unmarked. They weren't Concorde vessels. They weren't pirates either. These were hunters. Figures, Marcus muttered. He tapped the console, bringing up a classified overlay. The system hesitated, then recognized him. A soft chime followed. Identity confirmed. Marcus Hale. Former designation, Sentinel-class human operative. He exhaled slowly. So much for retirement. The hunter ships didn't land right away. They hovered, scanning, testing. Predators always did that when prey wasn't behaving as expected. One of them transmitted a tight beam signal. Marcus let it through. A distorted alien face appeared on the screen. Sharp features, pale eyes, expressionless. Human, the voice said. Step aside. Marcus stared at it. You're on private property, he replied calmly. You're trespassing. The alien's lips twitched. You are sheltering Byrelian royal property. Property. That word did it. She's not property, Marcus said. She's a child. She is leverage, the alien replied. And you are irrelevant. Marcus smiled faintly. That was their second mistake. You know, Marcus said, leaning back in his chair. The Galaxy keeps making the same assumption about humans. The alien frowned. And what is that? That we only fight when we're officially involved. Marcus cut the transmission. He activated the perimeter. The ground outside shimmered briefly, then vanished. Gravitational distortion fields. Old tech. Banned tech. The kind humans developed after too many treaties were broken. The first hunter ship drifted closer. Then, it stopped. Dead. No explosion. No warning. Just stopped. The second ship tried to pull away. The ground beneath it folded. Gravity spiked. The vessel crashed inward like a tin can. The third ship finally understood. It fired. Plasma lanced toward the house. Marcus didn't move. The shot bent midair, curved, slid harmlessly into the dirt. Inside the back room, Larry felt it. Not the sound. The weight. Her species was sensitive to gravitational changes. She clutched the blanket tighter. Marcus walked outside. No armor, no helmet, just a human standing beneath alien stars.
The last ship hovered shakily. Its pilot finally spoke. "What are you?" Marcus looked up. "A neighbor," he said, "and someone you should have left alone." The ship tried to jump. It didn't make it. Silence returned to the colony. Marcus stood there for a moment longer. Then he turned back inside. Larry was waiting when he opened the door. Her eyes were wide. "You didn't call for help," she said quietly. Marcus nodded. "Didn't need to." "But the Concord," she started. "The Concord doesn't protect people," Marcus interrupted gently. "It protects balance." He knelt in front of her again. "Humans," he continued, "we protect individuals." Larry studied him. "You're not just a door opener," she said. Marcus chuckled softly. "No," he admitted. "I'm what happens when doors fail." Outside, the stars kept shining. But somewhere far away, people were starting to realize something. The princess's child hadn't knocked on the wrong door. She had knocked on the only one that would open.
The galaxy believed humans withdrew. That was the official version. Marcus used to believe it too, until he learned the difference between leaving and being asked to stop interfering. Lorraine sat at the small kitchen table, wrapped in a thermal blanket far too big for her. Steam rose from the mug in her hands. She didn't drink, just held it. Warmth meant safety. "You didn't answer my question," she said quietly. Marcus looked up from the console. "Which one?" "Why hunters would risk Concord law, for me." That question carried weight, royal weight. Marcus powered down the last system and joined her, because this part couldn't be told standing up. "Do you know why humans aren't on the council anymore?" he asked. Lorraine nodded. "Because humans destabilized interstellar diplomacy." Marcus smiled thinly. "That's the summary." He leaned back. "Here's the part they don't teach. Humans didn't leave the council because they lost influence. They left because every time they got involved, someone stopped dying. Border disputes ended. Slave economies collapsed. Quiet genocides were interrupted. Treaties rewritten after humans pointed out the bodies. Other species called it interference. Humans called it not looking away. So the council did something clever," Marcus continued. "They didn't fight us, didn't accuse us, didn't sanction us." He paused. "They thanked us." Lorraine blinked. "That doesn't sound dangerous." "It was," Marcus said. "They labeled us voluntary mediators. Humans were offered observer status. No votes, no command authority, just presence. And then," Marcus said softly, "they made sure every crisis happened somewhere observers weren't allowed. The galaxy stabilized, on paper." Lorraine's fingers tightened around the mug. "So humans stepped back." "No," Marcus corrected. "Humans were sidelined. And the ones who didn't accept it," his eyes darkened slightly, "they disappeared into quiet jobs. Door guards, transport pilots, colony engineers, people who just happened to be former operatives. You're one of them," Lorraine said. Marcus didn't deny it. Outside, something shifted. Marcus's wrist console vibrated once. Long-range signal, encrypted, human only. He glanced at it, didn't answer yet. Lorraine noticed. "They're coming again," she said. "Yes," Marcus replied, "but not the hunters." He finally activated the message. A single line appeared. "You've been noticed. Stay human." Lorraine didn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. "My mother," she said suddenly. "She didn't send me here by accident." Marcus looked at her. "No," he agreed. "She didn't. The Princess of Varel had known exactly what she was doing. She hadn't sent her child to safety. She had sent her to a statement. The council won't touch you directly," Marcus said, "but they'll apply pressure." "On you," Lorraine whispered. "Yes." She lowered her head. "I didn't mean to bring danger." Marcus reached across the table, lifted her chin gently. "Listen to me," he said. "Danger came looking for you long before tonight." A new signal hit the system. Official. Concord sealed. Marcus frowned. The projection flickered on. A council envoy appeared. Smooth, composed, perfectly calm. "Marcus Hale," the envoy said. "You are harboring a diplomatic complication." Marcus crossed his arms. "She's asleep," he replied evenly. "You're early. This situation requires immediate transfer," the envoy said, "for her safety." Marcus tilted his head. "For whose definition of safety?" The envoy hesitated. That pause had everything. "Human," the envoy said carefully. "Do not escalate." Marcus smiled. "That ship sailed," he said, then tried to abduct a child. Silence. "You are not authorized to make decisions of this scale," the envoy said. Marcus leaned forward. "No," he agreed, "but I am responsible." Lorraine felt something click. A realization. Humans didn't seek authority. They accepted responsibility. The envoy's image flickered. "We will revisit this," it said coldly, then vanished. Marcus exhaled slowly. "Looks like it's official now," he muttered. "What is it?" Lorraine asked. He looked at her. "You're under human protection." Her eyes widened. "What does that mean?" Marcus stood. "Reactivated the deeper systems, the ones he hoped he'd never need again. It means," he said quietly, "no one takes you, unless which fail. And humans had a long history of not failing when someone smaller stood behind them." The house stayed quiet long after the envoy vanished. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears and makes you listen harder than usual. Marcus sealed the outer shutters manually, not because the system required it, because it made him feel better to touch something solid. Lorraine sat on the couch now, her legs tucked beneath her, eyes following his every movement. "You said my mother sent me here as a message," she said. Marcus didn't turn around. "Yes." "What kind of message sends a child?" That made him pause. He rested his hand against the wall. "A desperate one," he answered. He crossed the room and knelt in front of her so they were eye level. "Lorraine," he said gently, "do you know what your title really means?" She hesitated. "Princess?" "No," Marcus said. "Heir." Her breathing slowed. He could see the moment it landed. "In your culture," Marcus continued, "an heir isn't just royalty. They're continuity. They're proof a species intends to survive its mistakes." Lorraine swallowed. "My mother said the council wanted me educated off-world." Marcus nodded. They did, but not the way she let on. He stood and activated the holo table. A data shard unfolded. Ancient, heavily layered encryption. Varelian royal cipher. "I wasn't supposed to see this," Marcus said, "but your mother assumed a human would." The message activated. A hologram shimmered into being. The alien princess, older than Lorraine remembered. Tired. Unarmored. "If you are seeing this," the princess said calmly, "then my child is no longer under my protection." Her gaze sharpened. "And that means I was right." Lorraine froze. "Mother?" "The Concord does not fear violence," the princess continued. "They fear precedent." Images flickered behind her. Council votes, erased records, rewritten treaties. "They tolerated humanity when humans fought wars," she said. "But when humans began ending them," her voice tightened, "they became afraid." Lorraine's hands trembled. Marcus stayed still. "I cannot defy the council openly," the princess said. "They would remove my people from the maps. But I can do something subtler." She looked directly into the projection. "Into the future. I can place my child somewhere the council hesitates to act." A pause. "Among humans." Lorraine's vision blurred. "You were not sent to hide," the princess said softly. "You were sent to be seen." Marcus closed his eyes briefly. That explained everything. The hunters. The urgency. The council envoy. "When the galaxy sees a royal heir protected by a human," the princess continued, "every suppressed species will notice. They will remember who stood between power and innocence." The message shifted. The princess's expression softened. "My daughter," she said gently, "if you are afraid, that is acceptable. But understand this." She straightened. "You are not bait. You are proof." The message ended. Silence returned. Lorraine didn't cry. Not immediately. She just sat there, staring at the empty air. She knew. She knew they would come for me. "Yes," Marcus said. "And she knew humans would answer. But you don't have armies." Marcus smiled faintly. "We don't need to." A new alert chimed. Not Concord. Civilian. Multiple. Marcus checked the network. Dozens of independent relays lighting up. Unaligned worlds. Merchant guilds. Medical coalitions. Messages were spraying. Whispers. Screenshots. Footage of a Varelian child under human protection. "They're watching." "Yes," Marcus replied. And thinking. Outside the system. Something settler shifted. Trade routes hesitated. Council representatives delayed. No one wanted to be the first to test how far humans would go. When a child stood behind them. "I didn't choose this," Lorraine said quietly. Marcus nodded. "Neither did we," he said. "But here we are." He knelt again. Met her eyes. "You don't have to be brave," he told her. "You just have to be here."
She took a breath. Then another. I don't want anyone else to be taken, she said. Marcus's expression hardened. Not with anger, but resolve. Then they won't be. Because the galaxy was learning something old. Something it had forgotten. Humans don't move first. But once they do, they don't move aside.
The galaxy did not erupt overnight. That's a myth humans like to tell later. Real change is quieter. It begins with hesitation. 3 days passed. No attacks, no ultimatums, just watching. Marcus noticed it in the traffic feeds first. Ships rerouting. Not away from Earth, toward it. Independent freighters, medical convoys, diplomatic vessels without flags. They came slowly, carefully, as if unsure whether they were allowed to be there. Lee watched them from the observation window. They're not Concord ships, she said. No, Marcus replied. They're people making choices. The first transmission arrived without ceremony. No formal greeting, no title. This is Dr. Halvek of the Cathari Union, the voice said. We request permission to dock. Marcus raised an eyebrow. The Cathari were old, not powerful, but respected. He opened the channel. State your purpose. There was a pause. Then honesty. We heard a child was threatened, Halvek said, and that humans refused to hand her over. Another pause. We would like to stand where that decision was made. Lee's fingers tightened on the glass. Docking permission granted. The Cathari vessel was modest. No weapons, just hospitals. Dr. Halvek himself disembarked. Tall, thin, 4 eyes, all focused gently on Lee. I was raised during the purge years, he said quietly, when no one intervened. He inclined his head toward Marcus. You did. He knelt, not in submission, in respect. This will not be forgotten, Halvek said. That was all. He left a medical team behind. Volunteers. Then another ship arrived. Then another. A mining consortium pledged supplies. A neutral arbiter offered legal observers. A water world sent shelters. The council noticed. Of course they did. Emergency session. Closed doors. Raised voices. They're gathering around the humans, one counselor hissed. Because humans make people feel safe, another snapped. The envoy from before spoke again. We warned you, she said. You tried to take something. And humans do not respond well to that. Back on Earth, Lee sat at the kitchen table. Drawing. What are you making? Marcus asked. Stars, she said. And lines. He leaned closer. Trade routes. All converging. You're mapping influence, he said. She shrugged. I just draw what I see. That night, Marcus received a secure ping. Encrypted. Deep priority. It wasn't a threat. It was a request. This is Speaker Iran of the Valori Assembly, the message read. We request asylum talks. Marcus exhaled slowly. The Valori were warriors. Proud. Feared. He accepted. Lee looked up from her drawing. They're scared, she said. Yes, Marcus answered. And hope tends to follow fear. The next day, the council made its move. Not with fleets, with words. They issued a declaration, carefully phrased. The Concord recognizes the temporary custodianship of the Varelian miner, it read. Pending further review. Marcus laughed. Just once. Dry. They blinked, he said. But Lee wasn't smiling. They won't stop. No, Marcus agreed. They'll change tactics. As if summoned, an alert chimed. Unauthorized broadcast. System-wide. A new face appeared on every screen. A human. Not a soldier. Not a politician. A teacher. My name is Elena Ruiz, she said calmly. I teach Xeno history.
She gestured behind her. And this is my class. Students waved. Human, non-human, together. We'd like to remind the galaxy, Alina continued, that humans were once children too. Small, vulnerable, unprotected. Images followed. Human history, refugees, evacuations, hands reaching across divides. When we say we won't hand over a child, Alina said, it's not defiance. It's memory. The broadcast cut. Lee Ray's eyes were wet now. Not with fear, with something steadier. They're choosing, she whispered. Yes, Marcus said. And once that happens, he looked out at the gathering ships, the quiet armada of the willing. Power starts changing hands.
Neutrality is a luxury, one the galaxy believed in for a very long time, until it became impossible. The Concord Council chamber had always been quiet, not silent but controlled, every sound measured, every movement deliberate. That day, it wasn't. Voices overlapped, mandibles clicked, feathers flared, tails lashed against polished stone. They are undermining the balance, one counselor snapped. They are becoming the balance, another replied. At the center of it all stood Archivist Threx, old, ancient really, so old that most counselors forgot he was there, until he spoke. You are afraid, Threx said calmly. The chamber quieted. You are afraid because humans did what none of you would. A counselor rose. We govern by law. Threx tilted his head. No, he said. You govern by distance. Screens activated behind him. Historical footage, council rulings, votes, abstentions. Here, Threx continued, is where you chose neutrality over mercy. Again and again. One counselor hissed, this is irrelevant. Threx's eyes hardened. The moment a child begged for safety, he said, neutrality became a choice, and you chose wrong. The chamber erupted. On Earth, Marcus watched the feed, not surprised. They're eating themselves now, he muttered. Lyrae sat beside him. They sound lost, she said. They are, Marcus replied. They don't know what kind of galaxy they're in anymore. Then came the alert, a single phrase, unthinkable, neutrality status revoked. The sender, the Valori Assembly. Marcus stood, slowly. Get me a channel, he said. The Valori representative appeared, tall, armored, scarred. We were warriors long before the Concord, the Valori speaker said, and we remember what happens when children are taken. You're choosing a side, Marcus said carefully. The speaker inclined his head. No, he said. We are choosing a line. Behind him, Valori fleets powered up, not toward Earth, around it. Lyrae stared. They're protecting us. Yes, Marcus said, and themselves. Within hours, others followed. The Ketheri withdrew from Concord supply routes. The Sulari opened their gates to refugees. Even the merchant guilds imposed sanctions. The galaxy tilted. The Concord issued another statement, sharper this time. Earth's actions threaten galactic stability. Marcus laughed softly. They always say that right before losing control. Lyrae didn't laugh. What happens now, she asked. Marcus knelt in front of her, met her eyes. Now, he said, they test us. As if on cue, the lights dimmed. Long-range sensors flared. Unknown vessels. Fast. Military grade. Unmarked. Lyrae's breath caught. Are they coming for me? Marcus didn't lie. Maybe. He stood, straightened his jacket. No armor, no weapon. But they won't take you, he said. Not because we're strong. He gestured to the screens. Ships forming a living shield. Species that once ignored each other, now aligned. But because we're not alone anymore. The first shot never came. Instead, a transmission broke through. Unencrypted. Public. A single alien woman appeared. High-ranking. Council crest torn from her robe. My name is Counselor Vale, she said. I helped authorize the retrieval order. Gasps rippled across networks. I resign. Vale continued. And I testify. Data spilled. Orders. Threats. Hidden deals. The truth, raw and undeniable. The Concord wasn't afraid of humans. They were afraid of what humans reminded the galaxy it had forgotten. Lyrae felt it then. Deep. Certain. They're changing, she whispered. Marcus nodded. Yes.
And so are you. Outside, the stars shifted formation, not by command, by choice. And somewhere in the galaxy, a line had been crossed, quietly, irreversibly.
Power is loud. Most species believe that. Humans learned something different. The unknown vessels held position just beyond engagement range. Too close to ignore, too far to justify firing. Marcus studied them in silence. No orders, no speeches, just stillness. Lorraine noticed first. "You're waiting," she said. Marcus nodded. "They want us to panic." On the tactical displays, threat assessments flickered. Predictions, simulations, none conclusive. "They don't know what you'll do," Lorraine said softly. "That's the point," Marcus replied. A channel opened. This time, encrypted, selective, human-only clearance. Admiral Reyes appeared, older than Marcus, calmer, eyes that had seen decisions echo for decades. "They're probing," Reyes said. "Political pressure failed. Exposure failed. This is intimidation." "Do we respond?" Marcus asked. Reyes shook his head. "No." Silence again. The alien fleets adjusted formation. Aggressive. Deliberate. A Valori commander broke protocol. "If they cross the line, we engage." Marcus raised a hand. "No one fires." The commander hesitated. "But," Marcus met his gaze, "this isn't about winning a battle." The Valori fell silent. Lorraine watched the human officers. No fear, no bravado, just focus. "Why aren't you angry?" she asked. Marcus answered without looking at her. "Because anger is what they understand, and we're about to show them something else." He turned to the comms officer. "Open all channels." The officer hesitated. "All of them?" "Yes." The signal went out. Every ship, every station, every species listening. Marcus stepped into frame. Unarmed, unarmored, no insignia. "My name is Marcus Hale," he said. "I speak for Earth." The unknown fleet remained silent. "You've come here to see if we'll break," Marcus continued. "To see if pressure makes us fold." He paused. Let the silence stretch. "You misunderstand humans." Behind him, footage began to play. Not battles, not weapons. Hospitals, evacuations, engineers rebuilding cities under fire, children being carried through smoke. "We endure," Marcus said, quietly. Lorraine felt something tightened in her chest. These weren't stories. They were truths. "We didn't take a child because we wanted power," Marcus continued. "We protected one because we remember what it's like to be helpless." The unknown fleet shifted. Microscopic changes, but real. Marcus leaned closer to the camera. "If you want a war," he said calmly, "he'll get resistance. But if you want control," he added, "he'll get nothing." The transmission ended. No flourish, no threat. Seconds passed. Long ones. Then the unknown fleet powered down weapons. One by one, Lorraine exhaled sharply. They stopped. Reyes allowed himself a small nod. They were expecting a monster. Marcus sat down. They met a mirror. A new message arrived. Encoded. Ancient protocols. "Who sent this?" Lorraine asked. Reyes studied it. "Someone old." The message translated itself. Slow, deliberate. "We have been watching. You have remembered what we forgot. We will speak soon." Lorraine felt a shiver. "Is that good?" she asked. Marcus didn't answer right away. "It's honest," he finally said. "And that's rarer than peace." Outside, the unknown vessels turned away. Not retreating, withdrawing. The galaxy had seen something new. Not strength, not dominance. Restraint. And somewhere beyond known space, something ancient had noticed.
The galaxy did not sleep that night. Messages spread faster than ships ever could. Whispers moved through trade lanes. Rumors crossed borders. Humans didn't fire. That was the sentence everyone repeated. For civilizations raised on dominance, restraint was unsettling. Lee stood alone in the observation chamber. Stars drifted past the viewport. Cold. Silent. "They left," she said quietly. Marcus joined her. "Yes." "That message," she continued, "it wasn't from the council." "No," Marcus replied. "It was older." Reyes entered moments later. His expression was different now. Less military, more cautious. "We identified the encryption," Reyes said. "It predates every known alliance." Lee turned. "Who used it?" Reyes took a breath. "The Watchers." The words settled heavily in the room.
Every species knew the myth. Ancient observers, civilizations that rose before recorded history. They didn't conquer. They didn't rule. They watched. They disappeared, Liray said. So we thought. They never disappeared, Reyes answered. They withdrew. Marcus folded his arms. And now they're speaking. A second message arrived. No alarm, no urgency. It simply appeared. We have observed your species since its first fire. You were tested. You adapted. You remembered mercy. Liray felt her hands tremble. They knew about us, she whispered. They know about everyone, Marcus said. The message continued. Others failed this test. They chose dominance. They erased weakness. They became alone. Silence returned. Liray swallowed. What test? Marcus answered slowly. The one every powerful species faces. Reyes nodded. When you can take everything. Do you? The third message came without pause. The child was not the test. Your response was. Liray closed her eyes. So many sleepless nights. So much fear. You put us in danger, she said softly. Yes, the message replied. Danger reveals truth. Marcus leaned forward. You manipulated events. We observed. We did not interfere. Reyes exhaled sharply. That's still interference. The response came after a delay, long enough to feel deliberate. You are correct. We wish to see if you would hate us for it. Liray looked at Marcus. And? Marcus shook his head. No, the Watchers replied. Then you are different. Outside the station, human fleets maintained position, not advancing, not retreating. The galaxy waited. Another transmission arrived, visual this time. A being appeared, tall, translucent, neither mechanical nor biological, eyes like collapsing stars. Liray felt an instinctive urge to kneel. Marcus didn't. You have our attention, the Watcher said. Its voice wasn't sound. It was understanding. You broke our silence, Marcus replied calmly. Why now? The Watcher's gaze shifted to Liray. Me. Liray's breath caught. Me. The Watcher inclined its head. You were willing to trust what you were taught to fear. She remembered the knock. The door. The moment she didn't turn away. That matters, the Watcher said. Marcus narrowed his eyes. You're offering something. Yes, the Watcher admitted. Truth. The image expanded. Stars rearranged. Old scars in space became visible. Collapsed systems. Silent worlds. Civilizations erased themselves, the Watcher explained. Not through war, but certainty. They believed they were right, whispered Liray. They always do, the Watcher replied. The image vanished. The room returned. We will speak again, the Watcher said, when the galaxy decides what you are. The transmission ended. No promises. No threats. Just expectation. Liray sat down slowly. I don't feel ready. Marcus gave a small, tired smile. Neither did we. Outside, ships from dozens of species adjusted course. Not toward Earth. Toward curiosity. Something had changed. Not alliances. Not power. Perspective. And for the first time in a very long time, the galaxy wasn't asking what humans could destroy. It was asking what they would protect.
The galaxy did not vote. There was no council session, no emergency summit, no declaration. Instead, ships began to move. Slowly, carefully. Trade vessels altered their routes. Explorers requested new permissions. Ambassadors asked questions they had never dared to ask before. Not about weapons, not about defenses, about humans. Liray stood once more at the viewport. Earth was visible now. Blue, alive, spinning silently in the dark. They're watching us, she said. Marcus nodded. They always were. No, Liray replied softly. This time, they're learning. On Earth, nothing changed. Children still went to school. Farmers still worked the soil.
Cities still argued over politics and weather. Humanity did not celebrate. They did not announce victory. They did not erect monuments. They simply continued. The child, Aaron, sat beside Lee Ray on the station's garden deck. Synthetic sunlight filtered through the glass. "Will they come back?" Aaron asked. Lee Ray smiled gently. "Some will." "Will they be afraid?" the child asked. "Yes," Marcus answered honestly. Aaron considered that. "Is that bad?" Marcus shook his head. "No. Fear means they understand there's more to learn." A message arrived days later, not encrypted, not hidden, public. It came from a minor coalition on the edge of numb space, a species no one paid attention to. "We request human advisors, not soldiers, teachers." Then another. "We wish to observe Earth's disaster response systems." Another. "How do humans rebuild after loss?" Lee Ray read them all. Her chest tightened. "They're not asking how we fight," she said. "They already know that answer," Marcus replied. The Watchers did not return, not in form, not in voice. But something changed in the background of space. Sensors began detecting anomalies that protected instead of destroyed. Old ruins stabilized. Dead systems showed signs of slow recovery. "They're still watching," Rhea said. "But now, they're letting things heal." Lee Ray knelt beside Aaron. "You changed more than you know," she told the child. Aaron frowned. "I just knocked." Lee Ray laughed quietly. "Yes," she said. "You did." Years later, historians would argue over the moment everything shifted. Some would say it was the fleet's restraint. Others would say it was the refusal to dominate. But most agreed on one thing. It began with a door that opened. Humanity was not remembered as conquerors, not saviors, not gods. They were remembered as the species that proved power didn't require cruelty, that strength didn't demand obedience, that fear could be answered with patience. The galaxy learned something dangerous that day. Humans could end worlds, but they chose not to. And that choice changed everything.